Hello, my dear friends. Best greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Viktor Fursov. I'm a research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher. I'm studying small insects, parasitic CHALCID wasps. They're belonging to the family Trichogrammatidae. They're egg parasitoids, and they're belonging to a superfamily CHALCID wasps, or Chalcidoidea in Latin, belonging to the order Hymenoptera. And today I will be talking about parasitic and phytophagous chalcid wasps. And who are chalcid wasps? As I said already, they belong to the superfamily. The special superfamily, the part of the order Hymenoptera, and they're phytophagous. They're feeding on plants, or they're parasitic, so they're parasitoids, developing on or in different insects or some different invertebrates like arachnids, for example, some immature mites or ticks. And what are they? They belong to approximately 21 family in old taxonomy. Now they belong to more families. They are all deposited here on this poster, by the way. But the taxonomically has been separated on separate families. Just recently, it will be published by a group of international team or scientists pretty soon with such separation on separate orders. But here the majority of families are indicated on this poster. And what are the major part of these families? These families are spread all around the world. They have a global distribution. Some of them well studied, some are less studied, some are pretty just little bit studied because they're very real, like the family Rhotoetidae and so on. So they are collected by different methods like Malaise traps, yellow pen traps, reading, rearing, breeding, and of course collecting by sweeping net. I have special lectures about methods of collecting parasitic wasps. These lectures are deposited on my channel, so you can check it with indication CHALCID wasps, how to collect parasitic wasps. So today I will be talking a little bit about their behavior because they have a very different behavior. They are parasitoids. Parasitoids, part is entomophagous parasitoids and part is phytophagous, developing on plants. Who are parasitoids? Parasitoids, these are part of insects who are living on or in another creatures, in other organisms, and finally larvae developing inside or on another insect or animal, and this organism is dying gradually, or just finally dying, eventually dying. By the way, parasite like some nematodes, some worms who are developing in animals, in insects, in human beings, they are not causing the death of host. Host is just this organism which is useful, which is food resource for parasite. So sometimes it's mixed two definitions, parasite and parasitoids. Parasitoid causes the death of a host, and parasite doesn't cause the death of the host. Usually, host is weakening, becoming not so strong, but still surviving, giving just less progeny maybe, but not dying finally, because it is not profitable for the parasite to cause the death of a host, but parasitoid causing the death. So it's clear. But what about chalcid wasps and where they are developing? If you take part insects, they're developing in all stages of different insects and many groups of insects. They're developing inside eggs of insects. They're developing in larvae of insects. They're developing in nymph, and they're developing in pupae, and some insects develop inside adults of insects, like not chalcid wasps, but braconids, for instance. They're just parasitizing adults of some kind of Acilius beetles, and so the same do some chalcid wasps. Who are them egg parasitoids? I can show you. I have just some videos to show you. You can recognize their size. Their size is pretty small. Majority of CHALCID wasps are pretty small. The biggest of them, by the way, we have just about 1 centimeter size. This is a huge, giant. But smallest of them, pretty small. Like this family are smallest, with smallest organ. You see here the picture of small. Okay, this is potassium hydroxide. So all these insects with slight micro preparation. And these are insects of a family Trichogrammatidae and genus Trichogramma, egg parasitoids of different butterflies, moths, beetles, and other insects. And the size of this adult, this insect, just only half of millimeter. So they're developing inside eggs, for example, butterflies. And in one egg of butterfly can develop 1, 2 specimen or even 6 specimen in the eggs of night moths. So here they're alive. So they just image eggs of some butterflies like Citatroga. And so because they are used for biological control of agricultural pests, Trichogramma is rearing in biological control laboratory for purposes of biological control of agricultural pests, moths. The size of this is pretty small, just half of millimeter. If we can make a little bit magnification, so you see on the picture bigger one, so pretty big one. Some with wings, some without wings. Some wings are not spread because they're freshly hatched, freshly imaged. So that's why some wings not so well visible. But the size half of millimeter. But the smallest belonging to the genus Megaphragma Trichogrammatidae. And Megaphragma has the size 0.3 millimeter. But some Trichogrammatidae family, some egg parasitoids, they have very unique behavior. You see, some eggs of hosts can be transparent. So that's why if you can watch through the cocoon, the whole like cocoon here, you can see just parasite inside cocoon. And these are adults and few white pupae of a genus Prestwichia aquatica. Very interesting swimming egg parasitoid, Prestwichia aquatica. And this egg of aquatic insect, aquatic beetle of a family Dytiscidae. Just usually, commonly, Dytiscidae they lay eggs inside plants, so this egg have been taken off from the plant and laying here just under the water. So because eggs of beetles must be inside the water, otherwise they are drying. So all these insects were moving, they are alive, but they are covered by water, and so we can call them aquatic parasitoids. And they have very interesting adaptation because they are aquatic parasitoids. They are searching for these eggs inside plants of like Alisma, Sagittaria, some other aquatic Hydrophilus, Hydrophilita, or some aquatic plants under the water. And to find eggs under the water, these parasitoids, again, with size about half of millimeter, from half millimeter to 1 millimeter, depends from the individual. You see here, some insects were moving, and you think they are moving somewhere in the air, they are flying. No, these insects, they are not flying, they are swimming. They are swimming. Surprisingly, amazingly, fantastically. So they're really swimming. Here they're swimming, they're swimming like penguins with their moving legs, or like small dogs with moving legs. They have wings on the back of their body, on the back of abdomen, and they're moving very quickly. So here a group of small egg parasitoids just hatched from the host egg, And this is a water. They are inside the water. They are under the water, but they are moving very fastly, very quickly. And if they will come out of water, they will die after maybe 10-15 minutes on dry paper, on dry filter paper. So we will move a little bit, and finally die. And to show how they look like again inside the egg, I show them inside another egg. Big one, big egg. So this is like a sausage here with bigger magnification with some white pieces of feces of their larvae, and black adults moving adult. Black male is moving. Male is shorter and without wings. So on the in the center of screen, and other yellow and white, these are females. And you see this is a strange sausage, but this is a sausage. This is egg of a big aquatic beetle of a genus Dytiscus, Dytiscus marginalis. And the egg is actually strangely big, about 10-12 millimeters, and wide, about 3 millimeters wide, 2-3 millimeter wide, and long maybe 10-12 millimeters. And they are laid usually inside the stems of aquatic plants. So I took them off, put under the water, and they were parasitized by these tiny parasitoids of a genus Prestwichia of a family Trichogrammatidae. And again, egg of Dytiscus beetle has a transparent surface, so with visible parasitoids inside. White pieces, these are feces, uneaten pieces of egg actually. So all the content is eaten, and more than 30 individuals, 30 specimens can be imaged from one lone egg, from all this lone sausage egg of Dytiscus aquatic beetle. So you see, so surprising is, then this male and female, they are making hole, emergence hole in this egg, and will come outside and will swim again, like I show you again, swimming creatures under the water. So again, you see here, these are tiny insects, tiny parasitoids, aquatic parasitoids of a genus Prestwichia, and they are swimming so easily. And sometimes they can come outside of water. They can easily walk on the surface of water, like bug skimmers, and then can easily penetrate surface of water with head and then swim inside. So walking on the surface of water easily, because with insects they have very thin legs and weight is very small, so they can easily move on the surface of water and then penetrate, putting head just inside the water. Even it's difficult to penetrate the surface of water, the lower of water. The surface is even like a tissue, so penetrate the water and then just swimming inside very quickly with their legs. All 6 legs are used, and we have published with my colleagues special paper about swimming behavior and physiology, and with some mathematical investigation how they swim under the water. So they are swimming under the water. So if you are interested in this strange behavior, it's possible to collect eggs in springtime and in summertime in stems of aquatic insects. Keep them in small glass jars with part of water, and insects will emerge in separate small glass jars. So as I did special experiments for emergence of these insects to collect more individuals, because with other methods, instead of rearing, it's practically impossible to find these parasitoids on plants. They're pretty small, and mostly they're swimming under the water, invisible like other aquatic organisms. So far so good. So this is example of some parasitoids. Example of egg parasitoids of a family Trichogrammatidae. Here on this poster, Trichogrammatidae is here. This is not Trichogramma, this is genus Xiphogamma with very special long ovipositor like a sword. And actually behavior of this parasitoids is unstudied. So majority of chalcid wasps are pretty small. Some of them were studied morphologically described species, but behavior and host insect, or just a host, for some species, for some genera, practically unknown. So host of Xiphogamma is still unknown. We don't know who are hosts of this parasitoid with strange, very long ovipositor. Maybe this host somewhere under the ground, maybe in the soil, or probably this host somewhere inside, depositing eggs inside the plants. So because many chalcid wasps and many trichogrammatids are parasitoids of eggs, concealed eggs, just invisible, which are laying inside tissue of plants or inside tissue of leaves, for example. So under the bark, under the epidermis. So under the epidermis is laying the egg of host, and parasitoid is coming and penetrating the bark or thin or epidermis and laying egg. Or just sometimes eggs little bit visible, only small piece of egg is visible on the stem. So parasitoids are deposited in directly to the small piece of egg which is outside of stem. So ovipositor can be small in this case, don't need to penetrate the plant. But this one probably need to penetrate the plant. But we don't know which one and which is the host. This will be very interesting discovery which is needed to be found and described. So this is great, it needs very great attention, curiosity, and creativity how to find the host of this insect, which is pretty rare. Very only few individuals have been collected in my collection and described in the world, only few individuals. Which chalcid wasp? Which another chalcid wasp? I can show you some chalcid wasp from this book of Atlas of Entomophagus insects. So you see here, some of them were here, this family of Eurytamidae family, which are entomophagus and phytophagous insects. So they are parasitoids and they are phytophagous in plants and in galls of different plants. And what are morphological features of chalcid wasps? First of all, we can say it's quite easy to recognize them because they have a special structure of wings, special structure of antennae, and special structure of body. Here they're still pretty big on this poster. And the biggest of them belonging to the family, this one, Leucospidae and family Chalcididae. Leucospis is parasitoid of solitary wasps and solitary bees, which are laying their eggs on the larva inside the nest of a solitary bee or solitary wasp. And the size of Leucospidae, this one, is quite big, about 8 millimeters or 10 millimeters. But we said, what are the features of chalcid wasp? First of all, we can recognize very special wings. And what about wings? Wings in many cases have a very special venation. Venation, it means here a special venation. It has premarginal, its name. These pieces of venation has different names. This part is a premarginal vein and marginal vein, which is near the edge of vein, and radial vein. And on the top of a vein, there is a enlarged part which is just called stigma. And no more veins, not at all. Even in family Mimaridae, venation is very limited, just near the beginning of wing. Very short venation for Hymenoptera. So thus there is a different variety, different variations of venation. For Trichogrammatidae, for instance, we have a pre-marginal vein, very short marginal vein, and then just stigma. For family Signiphoridae, we have a disc of vein, but very long hetation or fringe of vein. So with very long seta, for the family Signiphoridae, Some Trichogrammatidae has also very short marginal vein, very visible stigma, and also sedation. Instead of different veins or different veins here on the disc, we can indicate only some lines of seta, only small lines of seta, no more. For example, for Trichogrammatidae. But in other families, all disc of a vein just haired radially, without any indication of special lines. But in some cases here, some groups of sedation are pretty visible, like in Entomologist. So, and here can be some empty areas, like naked places on disc, and some lines of seta. So the most interesting veins, we have, of course, this kind of sedation. For example, some Trichogrammatidae and some Hymenoptera, we have a very elongated disc and very long seta on veins. So very strange sedation for Hymenoptera and for Trichogrammatidae. So, and here, for example, for Hymenoptera, very short venation. For Trichogrammatidae will be longer and visible. These are Trichogrammatidae and these are Hymenoptera. What are another features of CHALCID wasps morphologically? Of course, we have structure of the quite visible structure of the antennae. Antennae, we have basical scapus, Dytiscus, second. Here there are some so-called antennae, very thin segments. Then funiculus, consisting of several segments, and then the so-called clava. And so all this flagellum, all these segments called flagellum. And clava can be separated on several parts, usually on 3 parts, but can be many parts as well. And here can be different type of sedation again, and different types of sensilla. Sensilla can be here, very interesting, with very interesting shape, and of course some type of sedation. Placoid sensilla, quite a big one, very well visible. A number of segments are very characteristic for each family and for each species, even inside the genus. So sometimes the shape and correlation, the ratio of sizes of different antennal segments is important for species identification. So you see here scapus, pedicellus, annuli, and flagellum. This several segments called funiculum, and clava or club. What about legs of CHALCID wasps? That's quite interesting. it's quite interesting that legs of chalcid wasps, they have a different number of segments. So you see for sure legs, this is femora, then it's tibia, and here segments of tarsal segments. So this is a leg. Number of segments for the same species is the same, but the number of tarsal segments can be different in different families. 3 segments, tarsal segments on the leg is characteristic especially for Trichogrammatidae family. But few species in Eulophidae family, they have also 3 segments, but all our morphological characters are very special for Eulophidae. So, but in other families in Eulophidae, either 4 or 5 segments and with claws on the top. So the number is usually 4 or 5 segments or 3 segments, tarsal segments here. Femora, tibia, and tarsal segments. So you see, femora, tibia, tarsal segments, like this. To better show on screen, just on telephone and on screen. To show other features, is better to show big photos rather than pictures. But I show you some pictures under the magnification or screen, so you can recognize here some families of chalcid wasps. These are in my paper about diversity of chalcid wasps. It's beneficial parasitoids. So you see here on this screen we see such families as Hymenoptera with very long wings and very long antennae. So these are Hymenoptera genus, Anagrus Hymenoptera. This yellow one is Trichogrammatidae genus Oligoceta. This one is a Leucospides oviposition under the bark with very special shape of ovipositor and shape of body. And here on the top are a few individuals of a Pteromolidae family. Pteromolus is oviposition inside the pupa chrysalis of caterpillar. What else? So here again, on this picture, in these photos we see here Dytiscus Pteromolidae genus. Here, just imaging from the cocoon of braconid parasitoid. So Dytiscus is secondary parasitoid of another parasitoid. For chalcid wasp, it's very special that they can be primary parasitoid inside the host, secondary parasitoid inside the larva or pupa of another parasitoid, or even tertiary parasitoid, so the 3rd level of parasitism. So here again, Dytiscus. Here this is Tetracampida. Here Encertidae, Perilampidae. Here some Euphilmidae. Here again with black one, Eurytamidae, Aphilinidae, Ormiridae. Now this is Megastigmidae. Here this one, Eucharitidae, parasitoid of larvae on some ants, developing on ants. And we have very special larva, which is named Planidium. Eucharitidae parasitoid of ants, so laying eggs on plants. This one, this one parasitoid, very special one. Eukaryotic. These are adults. Adult females. We have size about 7 millimeters. Not very common, but we have very characteristic morphology. This Eukaryotic. They lay eggs on the surface of plants, on the surface of some leaves, and larvae is hatching, and larvae is coming to the flowers, or just falling down on the soil and coming inside the nest of ants. And inside the nest, very active and movable larva, planidium, which is called planidium, this one, becoming the second shape of larva, which is moveless, and the second stage of larva just sitting inside the nest of ants and developing on the larva of pupa of ants. And then just an ants cannot do anything else because she has a special pheromones, and ants cannot understand that this is parasitoid. Eukaryotic is developing inside the nest under the protection of ants. As I said, some parasitoids developing in eggs. Here again some photos of eggs of moths, and these small trichogramma are parasitoids sitting on different size of eggs of night moths. And these are Signiforida family, here Elongated family, and a bunch of larvae which are developing on the body of caterpillar. And here again, this is interesting picture of larvae of, this is a genus Pediobius, pupal parasitoid of a family Eulophidae. And here larvae of genus Elahertus on the body of night moth, and they're just on the body as ectoparasitoid. So they're eating caterpillar outside, not inside the caterpillar, but outside as ectoparasitoids. And they're making just special cocoons and making pupation outside of caterpillar. Caterpillar is dying, gradually dying. This genus is Parapia, egg parasitoid of leaf-rolling beetles, Atellabidae, Pediobius, and here again pupa of moth with Pediobius laying eggs inside the pupa. And here of the family Chalcididae, big chalcid wasps, family Chalcididae, laying egg inside the pupa of Noctuidae family. And this one is the family Chalcididae again. These are my photos taken under the laboratory conditions. So far, thank you for your attention. I hope it was surprising and interesting information about some types of parasitism in superfamily Chalcidoidea, and I hope so it was interesting to know a little bit more about these unique parasitoids, which have a very huge variety of behavior, and they are parasitoids of different insects, and also arachnids, mites, and they have predaceous behavior, eating the larvae of other insects, or larvae of even some larvae in the family Mimaridae are feeding on the larvae other insects, or even on some nematodes inside the galls, and also attacking some arachnids like mites, ticks, developing an immature ticks of family Ixodidae, for example, family of Encertidae and genus Ixodiphagus, developing inside ticks, inside Ixodis. So they have a very important biological control potential to control the population of Ixodidae mites in the nature. That's why it's quite very important to study the biodiversity, taxonomy, and biology of phytophagous and parasitic chalcidoid wasps. Some of them, they're indicated here, and there are more than probably 50,000 species globally in the world, and more than 21 family according to the old taxonomy. Now maybe more than 21 family in new taxonomical position. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, ask your questions. Write your comments under this video. And don't forget, Ukraine is forever. Ukraine is forever. And write your comments and visit our Patreon page to support my channel. The link is indicated under this video. And press like. Don't forget to press like and write comment. Write very short comment, like even hello, I'm from this country, I'm from this country. It's quite supportive to understand feedback. Which country did you come from? Was it interesting for you? Are you studying entomology? What group of insects are you studying? And if you are a little bit interested in parasitic wasps, write in comments. But I was surprised about biology of parasitoids. And you just go back to the beginning of this stream where I showed already the behavior of some egg parasitoids on video. So here I'm just talking, but in the beginning, just in the middle, I showed the behavior of swimming parasitoids of a genus not Trichogramma. Trichogramma is flying, but genus Prestwichia, aquatic parasitoids swimming under the water. You probably have not heard about parasitoid, which is swimming like penguin under the water. These are species of a genus Prestwichia, and they are shown on my original video, somewhere here in the middle of my stream. Thank you for your attention. Press like, write your comments, ask your questions. Ukraine forever. Good luck. See you soon on my channel. Again, on my new stream. Good luck. See you soon. Bye-bye. Where are my assistants? These are two my assistants. I have to tell you. Goodbye. See you soon on my channel. Bye-bye. Good luck. Press like. And don't forget about visiting my Patreon page. Yes, it's very helpful and encouraging. Thank you very much. To become the patron or donator, why not? It's quite easy if you have your credit card, but now everyone has a credit card. So to be donator or patron is honorable idea to become a research assistant on my channel. Welcome. Good luck. See you soon.